Hello and welcome to Business Owners Unite, the podcast where we explore the challenges, successes, and lessons learned from those who have navigated the exciting yet complex world of business ownership. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, this podcast is for you to help, inspire, and guide you on your business journey. So let's get started and unite the world of business owners, one story at a time.
Welcome to Business Owners Unite podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, and today we have a very special guest. We've got Paula from Beyond the Maze. So welcome, Paula. How's it going?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's going really well. Thank you.
That's great. I'm really excited to chat today because I know that we've been to a few networking events together. And yeah, I remember that you brought a checklist of like all the things that people can kind of get a VA to do in their business. And I think I checked out of 100, probably like 99 of them. So it's like really like, wow, there's so many things that a VA agency can help with. So if you don't mind starting with telling us a bit more about your business Beyond the Maze and what it is that you do.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we're virtual assistants, and you're right. Like when I bring that checklist, it's 101 ways to use a VA. And I think everybody kind of goes, oh, I could check almost everything off this list.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is, and it goes beyond that 101 as well, of course. But yeah, so we are a virtual assistant business who offer a virtual reception and general admin services. Primarily, we're in the allied health space, but we do have some other clients in between. We're wedding planners and
cool.
A barbecue cleaner as a random one.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so we have some other clients in between, and we're also in the financial planning space as well, because that's my background. Is I was a financial planner back in the merry old day before business. Yeah. So, and I have a team of 11 at the moment. We're just about to hire our 12th one.
Very nice. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. That'll be 9 here in Australia and 3 in the Philippines
cool.
then. But yeah, so we're growing next year with more offshore team and different services in the AI space, particularly.
Cool. Yeah.
And project sort of management space for allied health workers. And so, yeah, there's lots going on in the VA space. I think it's a place to be, really, because it's growing every day.
Yeah, totally. I think everybody who runs a business could benefit from having a VA, to be honest. I think that checklist of 100 things really highlights that. How did you start your business, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what motivated you to go from financial planning into running a VA business? Like, that's quite the leap.
Yeah, it is quite the leap. And funnily enough, I didn't even know what a VA was. But yeah, I've been in business now over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I actually started my business to support my son. So he was expelled from his daycare center at the ripe old age of 4 years old.
Oh, my Lord.
Because they just couldn't manage him very well. So he was later diagnosed with ADHD. And I just knew if he wasn't going to cope with daycare, then school would have been a big challenge for him.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then I just thought, well, I'm just going to be the worst employee ever, because he's going to constantly have to go to school and pick him up and things. So I've got to start my own business. So
Wow.
I just did admin for financial planners, because that's where my space was.
Yep.
And then I learned about the VA industry and went, hey, this is pretty much what I'm doing already. And I just grew from there.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's always funny how
move.
it stems from like a need that, you have in your life, whether it's like trying to make your work life fit around your personal life, which it sounds like that's kind of driven you with your son to start your own business, or it's, you see a need for yourself as well, that you're like, well, if I need this, maybe somebody else might need this as well. So that's really interesting.
Correct.
And I mean, family's everything. So you've got to, family always should come first. And I think if you can make your business work for you rather than the other way around, that's awesome. That's like the dream job, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I give that now to my staff as well. So
That's awesome.
I pride myself on having a flexible workplace. So parents can work, they can go to an assembly at school if they want to go to assembly at school.
Cool,
it's
man.
just worked with the team.
Yeah,
So,
nice. I think that, we're going to start seeing kind of a bit of a democratization of the workforce in terms of being able to work remotely and pick your own hours in a certain way. Like obviously you still have to work, right? But having that flexibility of not being tied to a roster that's completely immovable, and having a boss that's like, you need to show up at 9 and you can't leave any earlier than 5, no matter what happens. That's such
Correct.
a draconian almost antiquated system. And I'm hoping that there's going to be more businesses emerge like yours and mine, I guess, where we do
Yep.
make sure that, like if we're able to benefit from working for ourselves and remotely, that our staff should as well, right? Like that's a
Correct.
big one. So good on you. That's awesome. You got to practice what you preach, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we are moving into that space, especially after COVID.
Yes.
People were forced to move to work from home, and then all of a sudden people realized it wasn't such a bad thing. So there's more and more businesses of allowing that flexible workplace, that work from home space, all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I
yeah,
think it's almost, this is going on a bit of a tangent here, but it's almost, there's a value to that where you might even take like, how much of your salary would you sacrifice in order to get that benefit? Is it like
totally.
5K per year, 10K per year? Like it's worth
Yep,
something, right? Like I would much rather
correct.
be able to, I don't have kids, but if I did have kids, have that flexibility to be able to go and pick them up from school and spend more time with
Mhm.
my loved ones, and, make sure that I'm helping my family, with just day-to-day activities rather than
Yeah.
having to commute into an office and work that 9 to 5, like I probably would take like, sacrifice some of my salary just to kind of be able to have that freedom. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. I think a lot more of the workforce, a lot more people in general are seeing the benefits to that. And hopefully that means that more workplaces will be willing to give that as a benefit, if you will.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice. So,
Mm.
in terms of the services that you do offer, maybe you can explain to us what a
Yep.
VA is for those who might not know. I'm sure that most people might have experience with VAs, but I'm sure there's people out there who are like, "What is a virtual assistant?"
Yeah, there's actually more people than you think that still don't know what a virtual
I
assistant is.
bet.
So it's surprising. The more and more I get out there and speak about it, and people say they don't know, it just blows me away. There's still a lot of people that don't know. So basically a virtual assistant. I always put it in very simple terms. In the way is, think of if you were to walk into a business and they had a receptionist sitting at the front desk, and answer the phone, making your appointments, all that sort of thing. That is just us, just working from home or working remotely. It's simple as that. Or if you've got a secretary or a personal assistant or someone that's actually in the office with you doing all that admin stuff, sending out emails to clients, answering emails, all that. That's us. That's exactly what we do. We're just not in the office.
Yeah.
It's the only difference.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah. So essentially, it's
Yeah.
somebody there who can help manage customer service, help manage administration tasks. I know that with that checklist, it's like marketing activities, sales activities, following up on emails, calls, posting to your website, social media. It's kind of a pretty
Mhm.
long list, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a huge list, and it's something that we usually get people to work through as well. To go, where would you if they don't? Some people go, look, I just need some help, and I don't know where.
Yeah.
So then we would sit down with them and say, okay, what are you doing in your business now? I literally just had a strategy session before
Oh,
this,
nice.
doing exactly that. What are you doing in your business now? Where do you want to go, and where can we come in and help you? And then we do a list of tasks.
Mhm.
And it's things like those, that social media, that is taking a lot of people's time, or even just being able to contact that customer service and keeping in touch with their clients and all that sort of thing with newsletters or email marketing and things like that, that make a big difference in having a VA on, because business owners are trying to do all of that
Yeah.
plus doing what they're supposed to be doing to get the money in the
Yeah.
door. So just having that back office admin support can make a huge difference for a business.
Totally. Yeah. And it does make a big difference. I think that oftentimes the owner operator of a business is, I find, best served in looking after sales and marketing, really focusing on talking to new clients and
Yeah.
getting out there and, networking and, creating content, videos, whatever it is. Because nobody really else can do that for you as well as you can, because you have the passion, you have the energy there. But the back office type of administration tasks, those are things that, with the right process and checklists to kind of go through, you can have help. You can get people in to kind of do those things, and your time is valuable. So you really want to put that focus on
Well,
what is my time best served to do, or what should I be focusing my time on as top priority, that's going to push the needle forward the most in my business. So if
that's
you're
right.
if you're able to free up an extra 10 hours a week, even if it's 5 hours a week, with that time, how many calls can you make? How many people can you speak to? How many videos can you create, or whatever it is, right? How many BX networking events can you go to? So you really want to look at those activities and go, all right, what are the other things that I'm doing that are stopping me from doing the high value work that nobody else can do? And that makes a lot of sense to me. I know I've talked to your team, and I'm really keen to kind of look at getting a VA next year, because there's so many things that you do that you're like, man, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but
Exactly.
such is life.
That's right. An average client does about, that 5 to 10 hours a month. So if you think, for 5 to 10 hours a month, someone's not probably going to come and work for you for that,
No.
right?
Yeah.
So that's only a couple of hours a week. And getting a VA in to do that, what can you do in those 5 to 10 hours a month that isn't back office admin?
Totally.
And honestly, what you can do as a business owner is going to probably bring in more money in those 5 to 10 hours than it is to pay us to do it anyway. So you're better off being used on a higher level income or revenue streams for your business, and then pay a VA to do it as well.
So true. So true. Just on that note, what do you find are the common pain points? Like, what are the things that people come to you and go, this is killing me? These are the problems I'm experiencing that you help with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Phones is a big one for us, because we do offer that service, which a lot of VAs, they don't, because you have to be there all the time. But the market that we cover, people answering phones, because obviously they're missing phone calls when they're in appointments with their clients. Or if you're on the road seeing clients as well. So they're missing those phone calls. So if they get to the point where at the end of the day, they're returning those phone calls, which you really don't want to do after you've done a whole day and you've got 10 calls to return. And if they do get to that, you've probably found, especially if you're someone like, a Sparky or a massage therapist or something like that, if they're not loyal customers, they're first-time customers, by the time you've rung them back, they've probably gone somewhere else.
True.
So by having us answer the phone, that makes a big difference in, one, you don't have to return calls, and two, you're not missing calls. So you've kind of got the one up on your client, your competitors who don't have that there. And also collecting money, for example. Same thing happens. You're in meetings all day and you're getting home at the end of the day and you're doing invoicing. And if you don't feel like doing it that day and you push it to the next day or the day after that, it's just delaying that money coming into your business.
So true.
We're doing that the next morning or the end of the day, depending on how the structure is.
Very nice.
So it's just little things like that make a difference. Keeping those contact points with your clients or potential clients. So setting up the email marketing and the newsletters and all that sort of thing, stuff that you just don't get time to do.
Yeah, totally.
Those little things make a difference.
I think just being able to answer calls is such a big thing, that if you can outsource that, or you have somebody who you can just be like, look, I need you to take these calls because you're busy, right? Like I know I hired a plumber recently, and I called probably 5 to 10 different plumbers. Like I went hardcore, and the amount of people who either didn't answer their phones, didn't have even voicemail set up properly. If they did answer their phone, they were kind of like, hello, and just that kind of lack of professionalism. The person that you end up going with is the one that's kind of like, hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah plumbing, speaking with so-and-so. You're like, oh, hey, mate. And, they're quick, they're responsive. I can make sure that we're coming out. How about, send me through some details. Here's the email. And I'll book in a time to come out and see you straight away. And you're like, great. So that fast turnaround, or that quick response time is so vital for your sales. If you're not taking those calls, you're losing a lot of value. You're losing a lot of potential customers. So totally agree with that. That's probably a big pain point that having a VA would help with.
Yeah. And emails are on the same. The same thing happens with emails. If you're in appointments all day or on the road, you're checking those emails at night, so you're missing them as well.
Yeah. So I know you were saying earlier, I don't know if it was on air or off air, but you were saying that you're looking at kind of some AI services as well. That really piqued my interest, because I love the AI stuff, as you know. So can you give us a little teaser in terms of what you're looking at there?
So Ken, I'm actually working with an AI consultant at the moment to build some models around bringing it into certain industries to help them be able to, make things more efficient in their offices. So it's about all I can say right now, because it's still very much a work in progress and not promoted yet. But yeah, really exciting. We're really delving into that aerospace because we figure that, it's here
It
and
is,
it's
yeah.
here to stay. And you've got to, if you don't run with it, you're going to be left behind really fast.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's, there's a lot of fear and talk around AI automating us all out of jobs, but I really don't
Mhm.
think that that's the case. We're still going to need drivers, right? Like it's kind of like when agricultural kind of industry got tractors for the first time, people were like, "Oh my God, we're all going to be out of jobs." It's like, well, somebody needs to drive the tractor. It does,
Yeah.
it's still going to be, make things a lot more efficient, a lot more productive. And I think that's really the big benefits. But it's really just making sure that you're using the tools, right? Because
Mm.
running a business is all about finding the right tools for the job. You don't see a lot of builders using nails and hammers anymore. A lot of them use nail guns and things. So, or I'd hope, anyways.
Mhm.
So, it's just kind of like how you harness those. I know in my
Great.
business, I use AI for almost everything, and it's awesome. Next year, we're launching a
Mm.
lot more video services, and the amount of AI editing tools that have kind of emerged is just it's
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. It's so good because
Yeah.
it means that me and a small team can do probably 10 times the editing work that we used to be able to do, and that's a huge
Yeah.
benefit. So it's good for us, good for our clients. I think it's a win all around, really.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, awesome. So maybe you could tell me a little bit more about, like, is there any customers, I guess, recently, or any customers that come to mind where they've really kind of like grown massively, or you've really kind of alleviated a massive pain point for them? I'd love to hear some stories, I guess, of people starting to work with a VA and how that's worked out.
Yeah, so we do. I mean, we see it all the time, and we actually get to the point where people will bring us on to look at help them with their business, and then they'll grow to the point where they end up getting a full-time staff member,
Nice.
or they're able to pay someone. So we're kind of like, as much as we don't like people going, it's like a satisfaction for us to go, yes, our job here is done. We've
Nice.
got you to that point. It's wonderful. But a couple in particular, one, when I sort of started moving out of the financial planning space, there was a client who was selling weight loss products. Now, with the financial planning space, it's traditionally quiet between that December, January
Yeah.
period. And in my first year of business, I kind of went, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have a lot of money come in. I'm going to
Mm,
do
yeah.
something. And I found this lady who was just looking for a VA. She had the weight loss products. I thought, oh, well, that's great. That's a great time, January, with all the New Year's
Yeah,
resolutions,
totally.
and that's perfect to fill that void. So I started with her just answering emails. So she just had like a ticketing system set up, answering emails. And it was like 10 hours a month, a couple of hours a week. That was it. But her and her husband were actually answering those emails, and they brought someone on to do that, which was me.
Yeah.
And over the space of, I think we had them for about 18 months, roughly, possibly 2 years. Um, Over the space of that time, they grew from 10 hours a month to 40 hours a day.
40 hours a
Is what
day.
40
Wow.
hours a day is what the support they needed from
That's
us,
insane.
because what happened is that they took their hands off that day-to-day running. In the meantime, that obviously got marketing people and all of that in as
Yeah.
well, but they were no longer hands in answering emails, that were coming in. So the more they grew their business, because they were able to get out there and grow their business, the more emails were coming in,
Gotcha.
obviously, with the growth of their business. And once again, they weren't touching them.
Yeah.
So, of course, then my business grew because I needed staff to support me for
Yeah.
that. And then they just got to a point where it was just becoming ridiculously expensive for them to use us. So they went offshore.
Yeah.
But great, we've
Yeah.
helped in that growth of their business. And I had even said to them a few times, hey, do you want to look at offshore? Because this is getting quite expensive for you guys. And eventually that's what they did.
That's
Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing growth. And I think, every customer is going to go through a life cycle, right? And you're going to get to that end of life phase at some stage. It's
Yeah.
it's just, how you handle that, and like nothing lasts forever. It's great that you're able to
Mm,
grow them to that stage and be able to, I'm assuming, like hand over and help train up and
yep.
get people through.
Totally.
I think that's a sign of a great business, is being able to be willing to help hand that over and bring it in house. One of my biggest and bestest clients had that happen recently, where they got to a point where we 4x their business, and they then were all of a sudden like, hey, we're thinking about getting this in-house now. And I was like, this is great, but also so tragic, but I still have a relationship with them 6 months later, where I'm still helping with things and consulting on things. And their marketing manager is fantastic. But it's just part of the life cycle, isn't it? Like, these things happen. They're going to outgrow you eventually, and that's a sign of a job well done, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And some don't. We've got one at the moment who she's just grown again, because she started with a couple of practitioners, and now I think she's got 11 practitioners. And I've said to her twice now, it might, not directly, but somewhat sort of hinted it'd be cheaper for her to get a full-time admin in, and she has an office that she can actually put someone as well. But loves us so much that she just doesn't want us to go. So that's fine.
No, I think a lot of the time it's like, you don't want to fix something that's not broken, right? Like, it's like, this is working. Why would I? Yeah, you might be paying a premium, but that's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you're getting good value.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's her. Like, she's just got this nice, well-oiled machine with the VAs that are looking after her, that she just doesn't want to rock that boat. So she's like, "No, I'm staying." Like, okay, that's fine. Happy to have you.
Oh, good stuff. Well, that sounds like some great, testimonials, great case studies. It's good to hear some of the successes along the way.
Yes.
I guess if you were listening to this, 10 years ago, and you were it was Paula just kind of starting out, day dot, going in your own business, what would be some advice that you'd give, young wee Paula just looking to kick things off again?
Give up now and run away. No, not really. I think every business owner feels that way to some point. No, I think the biggest learning I've had is just stick with it, like ride that roller coaster of business, because you're going to have those up and downs. And boy, have I had some, and I don't like roller coasters, but I've had some pretty wild roller coaster rides in business. And, it just all works out. It all works out in the end, how it has to work out. And when we hit some turmoil, it's like, what, we'll just take a learning away from that. What did we learn from that? And it's going to work out. Let's just ride this wild ride at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. It's, it's funny how many business owners say that. It's like, the advice would be, that you're in for a wild ride and just go with it. And I think, one of the things that I've heard, I can't remember who quoted this to begin with, but you're wanting to fail and fail often, and if you replace failing with learning, and you're either learning or you're growing, and sometimes both, it's really, you learn a lot by just doing. And, those times where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, this is the worst, you're going to learn so much from that. Hopefully anyways. Some people like to make mistakes repeatedly. I don't know.
That's right. I literally just did a video this morning, and I'd said, if you make a mistake, ask yourself, what did I learn from that? And I like the terminology fail forward.
Yes, me too.
Because it really is all about failing forward. And just when you're sitting, many times I've just sat in my car on the road and go, okay, this is a really rubbish situation right now, but what am I learning from this?
Nice.
And just let the answers come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the longer I run a business, the more I learn that it's really a mindset. The whole thing is having a good mindset about things, and you're building up resilience, and realizing that you've got to look at things as lessons, and you got to look at things as very kind of, you're kind of always growing, you're always learning, and you've got to try things, and not be afraid to fail, because you're going to fail. It's like, it's inevitable.
For sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Paula, this has been a great conversation. I've got some rapid fire questions that I thought we could go through, if that's okay, just to kind of get a little bit more juice out of the squeeze, get as much information from you as possible. The first thing I think is really important is, I guess, talking about what your best practice or ritual is for self-care. Running a business is hard work, as we said. So what do you do to kind of keep yourself balanced?
Meditation.
Meditation. Oh, nice.
For me. Meditation, and funnily enough, car racing. They're my two.
Not at the same time.
Total opposite ends of the scale, Warren.
That's awesome. I can imagine car racing be very much getting you in the zone, like getting you into flow.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. In terms of productivity, what would be your best business hack? Like, is there any time management techniques, anything that you found really helps you in, getting shit done?
Yeah, well, for me, it's having a task-based software. That's my huge thing. I'm very organized, obviously being a VA,
Yeah.
organized and structured, and I have to have everything in my task-based software to be able to tick things off and do it that way. And using AI,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Nice. A lot of
Yep.
good life hacks there. That's great. And speaking of like task-based, systems, is there any software that you couldn't live without, or anything that you would say you have to try this out as a business owner?
Yeah, ClickUp,
ClickUp,
absolutely.
nice.
So we are huge ClickUp users here in the business. Big processes, and it's our task-based software. We would be lost without it, all
Amazing.
of us, because we've got it all in there. It's
Nice,
perfect.
awesome. Yeah, I've heard a few people talk about ClickUp and Monday. We use Asana,
Yeah,
but I think they're all very
yeah. I
much like,
started.
like just amazing systems to have in any business. That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
totally.
Well,
I
thanks so.
started on Asana. Asana's like ClickUp's like Asana on steroids.
Oh, really? Wow. That's a big, to be honest, I've used Asana for years. I've tried a lot of different task management systems, and ClickUp's probably one that I haven't tried. So maybe I need to check it out. I've been doing some preliminary research on Motion because it's got really good AI
Motion.
integration. Like it writes a lot of things for you, and everyone kind of raves about it. But I don't know if it's just good marketing. I'm not sure. Because there's so many influencers talking about it, and obviously you've got to be careful with these people because they get paid for it. But it
Correct.
does look pretty cool. Anyways, Paula, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Just for our listeners who have, gone through all this today and been like, this sounds amazing, I want to get a VA. How could they, reach out? How could they get in touch if they want to, have a chat about your services?
Yeah, sure. So you can jump onto our website, which is beyondthemaze.com.au, and you can have a look at us there. You can book in for a discovery call through there, and then we've got all the Beyond the Maze social handles as well.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Paula, for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure chatting, and definitely reckon that anybody watching should check out Beyond the Maze. I'm definitely checking out next year some of your services, so looking forward to seeing how that
Awesome.
goes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Carl. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, Paula. Cheers.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Business Owners Unite. Thank you for spending this time with us and being a part of our growing community of entrepreneurs. If you liked what you heard, please show your support by subscribing and leaving a review on your platform of choice. Your feedback helps us grow and continue to bring you valuable content. Remember, your business journey is unique, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories in our upcoming episodes.